Hello students, this is Waqar Ahmed, your economics teacher from Cambridge International School, Dasuha. And in this book of Indian economic development, we are on chapter number 1, Indian economy on the eve of independence, in which we are discussing different economic and social parameters of Indian economy when we got independence from 200 years rule of Britishers. And till now, we have covered the causes of low level of economic development, causes of agricultural stagnation, situation of industrial sector, and composition of foreign trade. In today's lesson or class, we will cover demographic condition and occupational structure of Indian economy. But as per the norm, first we will recall shortly or briefly the topics discussed in the last lesson. Then we will be moving on to the new topics. And so in industrial sector, the first was systematic deindustrialization, in which the Britishers transformed India into a supplier of raw material to British industries and importer of finished products from the very same British industries. Then the effect of this systematic deindustrialization on handicrafts industry was that it gave rise to widespread unemployment, because all the people, all the workers, all the artisans working in handicraft industry became redundant or jobless. There was no modern industries at that point of time in India, because Britishers never encouraged that even rich Indians like zamindars could open any kind of industry. There was no capital goods industry, means the industry which produces machinery and that machine produces goods for consumption. There was no industry in India which could produce machinery for further production of goods. The growth rate was very low because of all these factors, and there was no role of public sector, means government sector, into the promoting and encouraging the establishment of industries. And the encouragement and motivation from public sector was very important and is very important, because there are so many facilities which an industrialist cannot avail on its own. He definitely needs the support of its government to do business. And for real life example, you can see that even during this pandemic situation, all the economies, be it America, be it China, be it Canada, be it India or any other country of significance, has drafted a plan to provide money as loan, as subsidy, as unemployment allowances to its people and its industries. But at that point of time, the Britishers never allowed public sector to give to provide services to industrial sector. Then as far as foreign trade is concerned, India was an exporter of spices, silk, woolen, cotton, indigo, jute, and India was importer of the finished products of all these things. Means India exported cotton, but India imported cotton cloths and textiles. So this was the pattern which we have already discussed in systematic deindustrialization. Then Britain has a certain monopoly over the foreign trade of India, and because of this, even India was always in export surplus, means India was liable to be getting gold and silver from Britain, but it never got gold and silver. What India got was excuses and justifications. Number one, that British East India Company is maintaining an India office in Britain to represent Indian interests. Then they are safeguarding ourselves from other colonial powers, although they themselves were colonial powers. So in all these things they are spending so much that there is no export surplus is left. And as far as volume and direction is concerned, British government allowed foreign trade only with three countries other than Britain. Those were China, Ceylon, Sri Lanka, and Persia, Iran. So this was all about the foreign trade. Now let us start the new topic. So first is demographic condition, and demography means, or the subject area of demography is to study about the population and its different characteristics. So first is the census, and as we have studied census in +1 statistics as well, I definitely assume that you all remember about that. Census in simpler term means calculation of the number of people living in a country at a particular point of time. This exercise or census is done after every 10 years, and this was started by the Britishers in year 1881. So examiner might ask, in which year census started? 1881. And census studies about population. So one more thing, one kind of interesting fact about Indian census, not about census. Census is done by every country after a certain time period. In India it is done after 10 years. We kept the practice adopted by Britishers, and the most one interesting factor is that Indian census started in 1881, and since then it has never stopped. It is the only continuously done census of the world. The census of America has stopped during World War I and World War II. Census of other countries have also stopped, but Indian census never stopped. The last census was conducted in 2011, and the next census will start from next year 2021. Then comes the year of Great Divide. First, the year of Great Divide is 1921. You need to keep this in mind. Make a mental picture. In the center of a line, put year 1921. From on the left hand side, all the years before 1921. On the right hand side, all the years after 1921. So why this 1921 is known as year of Great Divide? Generally, demographic transition means the pattern of change of population, and generally we say that there are 4 stages of demographic transition, although we will be talking about first and second stages of demographic transition. In first stage, the death rate and birth rate both are very high. So before 1921 in India, death rate and birth rate were so high, and generally because of lack of medical facilities, healthcare facilities and other factors, India's death rate was higher than its birth rate. So what happened, that before 1921 the growth rate of Indian population was negative, meaning year after year Indian population was decreasing. Yes, interesting and amazing fact. Nowadays we are second fastest growing in population, but before 1921 Indian population year on year was decreasing. Why? Because we were in the first stage of demographic transition, in which birth rate and death rate both are high, and generally death rate is greater than birth rate. Then came year 1921, the year of Great Divide, and after 1921 birth rate was higher, whereas because of social, educational, economic changes, death rate became lower and lower, resulting in net increase in population year on year. And from 1921 onwards, Indian population started increasing, and it is increasing so much that we are still unable to stop this increase. And year 2050 India is expected to overtake China and became the most populous nation of this world. So that's a fact. But you need to remember that 1921, year of great divide, because in this year India entered into the second stage of demographic transition, meaning that the birth rate became higher and higher and death rate started declining, resulting in net increase in population year on year. Then comes literacy level, which was very low, as you can see on your screen. But first we must know the meaning of literate person. If a person is elder than 7 years of age and he can read or write, not read and write, read or write any one language which is prevalent in that country, then he is considered to be a literate person. Even with such relaxed condition, at that point of time only 16% of the population was literate, and if we compare females as stand-alone category, then only 7% of the females were literate. If we compare that to today around 78% of the Indian population is literate, and we all know that female participation in literacy levels is increasing day by day. Then comes mortality rate, and mortality rate means basically rate of survival, and particularly infant mortality rate, which was very high at that point of time, around 218 per thousand, which is currently 40 per thousand. So you can see the difference again, and infant mortality rate refers to the rate in which the children dies before completing the age of 1 year, meaning at that point of time out of 1000 children 218 died before completing age of 1 year. Now this rate is only 40 out of 1000. Then comes low life expectancy, means how much years. It is not like a person will live up to this year only, no, it is an average. So life expectancy at that point of time was only 44 years, which is currently 68 years. Again you can see the big difference. And one point to note, some of you might have book of different year or different edition, some of you might have different edition. So if there is any discrepancy in the data, then this is not a big deal, first thing. Second thing, the data of only NCERT book is and will be considered valid. The data of Sandeep Garg, data of V.K. Ohri, data of C.B. Sachdeva, or data of any other book, Radha Bahuguna, or any other book, if it is not matching to the NCERT, then during the time of evaluation, during the time of board exams, the data from NCERT book is considered valid. The data in different edition of NCERT books may be different, that is another issue. Then if we talk about health facilities, and from my point of view, this is the root cause of all the abysmally low indicators of demography, inadequate health facility. So out of this inadequate health facility, public health care or public health facilities were generally unavailable to a large section of the society, and wherever they were available, they were not sufficient to cater to the population of that particular area. Means you could not rely on government, on British government, colonial government, to provide healthcare facilities to you. If you have got money, then you can go to the private doctor and get treatment, but if you are poor without any money, then you should not hope that you will get, I am talking about that point of time, you could get proper healthcare facilities, and if you do not have healthcare facilities, then definitely the death rate will be higher. The next point is high and extensive poverty. I have just told you that if you have got no money, then it is difficult to get a good treatment, and the population at an individual level or aggregate level will face situation which will definitely become worse and worse, because no money, for example, no treatment, different demographic indicators will be higher. No money, no job, then we all know as students of economics that economically your life will ruin. Now comes occupational structure, and occupational structure of India means it refers to the situation that the working population of India is engaged in which sector and in which industries. We all know or we categorize the sectors of an economy into three sectors. Primary sectors means related to agriculture and allied activities, secondary sector or industrial sector, tertiary sector or service sector. So, you can see on your screen that agriculture sector was the biggest job provider, which still is. At that point of time, around 70 to 75% of Indian population was engaged in agriculture. Then manufacturing or secondary sector provided job to around 10% population, and tertiary sector or service sector provided job to 15 to 20% of the population. So, we can definitely conclude that India was an agrarian economy, and extensive population, working population of India was dependent on agriculture for job and livelihood. Now, this is an important point, regional variation. So, just for the sake of knowledge, at that point of time, Britishers divided India into 7 presidencies, which we call state as of now, in today's terminology. Britishers call these states as presidencies, and Britain divided India into 7 presidencies, and out of these presidencies at that point of time, Madras presidency, which included Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala and Karnataka, means all of the South India comes under Madras presidency, then Bombay presidency and Bengal presidency. Bengal presidency included this West Bengal, Bangladesh, some part of Bihar as well. So, at all these places industries were coming up, although those were very kind of far and few between, but still industries were coming up. There was kind of some sort of industrial expansion. So, the population was changing the sector, means people were quitting agriculture and they were joining industrial sector and service sector in these 3 presidencies, because of some sort of industries were coming up, like cotton textile mills were coming up, jute textile mills were coming up, some sort of cement, sugar was also there. So, because of these things and expansion of British colony, pupils were engaged in industrial sector and service sector as well. But still in some parts of India like Odisha, Rajasthan and Punjab, more and more people were joining agricultural sector instead of industrial or service sector. So, this was the regional variation in the occupational structure of Indian population at that point of time. At some places people were quitting agriculture, joining other sectors, and in some other places people were joining agriculture sector in more and more numbers. So, that is it for today students, and just as a reminder again, from 1st July onwards 3 hours examination will definitely happen. Before that, from 1st June onwards the next series of online quiz will start. You need to prepare notes of this chapter and all other forthcoming chapters into a separate book, and that is it for today. Stay inside, stay healthy, stay safe, and continue devoting 8 to 10 hours to your studies. Bye.